Well, last week was should we occupy? This week has something snapped? We'll be asking ourselves that and lots of other questions. It's been a very eventful 1 week. A lot of people thought it was slow because they were at home. But for the people who were on the streets protesting, it was a different story. From Monday till Friday, we were on the streets occupying Nigeria and telling the government, well, this is our peace and we intend to be heard. We have lots of exciting guests in the show on the show today. I can't wait for you to meet them. But we have to take a break before that. This is just me doing the intro thing. Yeah. So stick around. We're going to be talking very heatedly. We're going to be talking lots of facts and of course way forward because it seems like there's a deadlock and we are not backing down. So let's see who's going to back down. After the break, more on Robbing Minds. Stick around.
Investigating, exposing, uncovering, reporting, hard-hitting interviews. Sunrise Daily, only on Channels Television.
According to Wikipedia, tourism is travel for recreational, leisure, or business purposes. On Travel Guide, tourism expands to include a guide to exotic destinations, sports for relaxation, and fun. That's not all. We also include traveling tips before you set out to that destination. Travel Guide embellishes this with exposition on the people and unique features of interest. Most of all, we take you there before you get there. That's what we do every Sunday at 9 p.m. The good thing is that there's no limit to the places we take you to. So you've got nothing to lose touring the world with Travel Guide on Channel Television.
Welcome back, Lagos. Welcome back, Nigeria. We're still live on Robbing Minds on Channels Television. And, well, that's the culprit beside me. He just came to steal my shine. Like everything that happens in Nigeria, just steal my shine.
Shadi, today we're in a very sober mood.
I'm not sober.
I don't know why you're not sober.
Because I've been ill, so I haven't been occupying. I've been occupying my bed. I'm ready to.
So the least you can do now is to come in a sober spirit and empathize with us for staying in Ojota for 5 days. My voice is gone because I've been,
my voice was heard on Twitter and Facebook. Okay,
Shadi, it's good to be by your side on the show. I'm going to have you back, by the way.
Thank
you.
You
don't look sick.
Why should I?
Fantastic. Okay, so it's good to be here this Sunday afternoon, and as we continue to occupy until we hopefully get a solution,
yes.
The people on the show will tell us where we're going exactly.
Give us their opinions on the way forward, solutions, because, how long can we be at deadlock? We have to say, okay, look, what's the way forward in terms of young people saying, okay, this is how we think, and this is how it should be. This is what we think should happen.
All right, so
we have
introduce them quickly so that they can begin to tell us before you tell us.
No, I'm not the one saying anything.
Okay, all right. On my right, is it right or left? On my
Your left.
Yeah, we have
the guy in the blue shirt.
Shade, you don't need to tell the word trick. You don't need to. Cheta Nwaze. Cheta is a journalist, is an internet expert. Cheta is a lot of things. Cheta is a time bomb sometimes. Good to have you on the show.
Cheta is a Twitter troublemaker.
Yeah, and sitting next to Cheta is another Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Yes, Dynamite, who I'm hoping that I would be able to manage on the show today.
Shewo
Kuti.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me here again.
Right, and of course,
this is the cool side.
Yeah, the delectable Nkem Uwaje, whose goal is simple: the Nigerian dream. Not too much trouble. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. And of course, finally,
gentle side, right?
The ICT expert. Sean, sir. Who is a regular on the show?
Without much ado, I think we should, the title of the show, hashtag Occupy Nigeria, which is what has trended on Twitter, which has got CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and the whole world talking, focus on Nigeria in the past 13 days, not just 5 days, but 13, and for me, by Friday, I said to myself, after I saw a quote-unquote hoodlum, in Falomo come up on stage and say, our issue no be fuel subsidy, na corruption for government. We no want make them get 9 jet. We no want this, we no want that. Why we they suffer? He spoke and I was shaking. And I thought to myself, something has snapped. And so I'm asking all of you, I'm going to start with Binga. What snapped in the minds of Nigerians?
I think, allow me to, I explain this as much as possible, but unfortunately, because, what was closest to my mind at that time was engineering, so I used the concept of escape velocity. Escape velocity is very simple. I mean, something keeps moving, but at a certain time, the speed of that thing is not dependent on anything else. It just goes and goes and goes. And it's like the Nigerian, excuse me, that's the effect of, of last week. The Nigerian people have always been known as resilient people. But don't forget, now, people can only be resilient up to a certain point. At some point, when you put so much pressure, something will happen. Don't forget, they say an object will continue in a state of rest or constant uniform motion unless acted upon by an external force. And the external forces are very clear. Number one is that for years, Nigerians have been suffering. But we didn't know, because we read the newspaper version that had been manipulated. Now we have internet access and we can read for fact. Now we can know exactly how much the president's breakfast, or president and VP breakfast, lunch and dinner. It was interesting. It was interesting since someone carrying a placard in Ojota saying, I had no shoes, but now my breakfast, breakfast 1 million, lunch 1 million, dinner 1 million. So people can see the facts for themselves. Now, second thing is, this is now a global world. We saw what happened in Tunisia. We saw the Arab Spring. And people are saying to themselves, hey, wait a second. Even before this happened, before the trigger called for subsidy, people were asking the question, what is wrong with us? A few years ago, a Nigerian was arrested for trying to blow up a plane. And our reaction as Nigerians was, it's not possible. Nigerians cannot become terrorists. But what happened with Boko Haram? So things have changed. And I think the problem was government, in a way, assumed that Nigerians are always resilient people. And the president said, you know what, I'll rather face a people's revolt than revert on this. And so what happened was all the forces coming together, information democratization. The guy you saw in Ojota, who everybody will call a what do you call it?
Hoodlum.
A hoodlum, got information. How did you know the presidency has, a certain number of jets? It might have been exaggerated. But it's because in Ojota there, you will see people passing on information. Some read on a piece of paper. Some transfer it to other people in terms of sharing words with them. So information democratization, the external factor, we've seen what happened, what's happened around us, and then the internal pressure. For how long can you keep a weak man down? Even the smallest boy in a class, if bullied by everyone, one day would say, allow me to say this the way I said it in secondary school when I was being bullied. Kilo day. And I found out that day that the guy who had bullied me for a while was someone I could handle because I held his head under my armpit and I realized he couldn't move. And that day, the guy became scared.
Sheung, is that what we're doing? Have you this explanation that Benga just gave about the guy in the secondary school, is that what we're doing?
I will go to activity, put some punches where they have the guy's head. Because if I were you, I would deliver some, don't do that again. But definitely it's just it's only going to take a matter of time, because I was listening to one of our president's economic team member, Atedo, Peterside, that's his name, the man with that Jonathan-like cap. He was talking that Labour was going to lose the battle if they didn't call up the strike quickly, that Nigerians were going to give up on the strike because there were not any money and they were going to go back to work. I'm like, is either he's not an expert in economics, as he says, or he has decided to overlook some things. Nobody can predict human behavior. we might decide to go back to work, or we might just decide to go and start taking things that we need to continue the strike. How about that? How about we just watched England? You know, they call in some people hoodlums and miscreants. How can the government label their own people as such when you're the ones that have stolen the money that they should have used to go to school in the first place? You know, but look at a society like England, where people have access to education and youth still revolted just because of austerity measures by their government. And they started taking everything that they felt they needed from every store, you know, and took it to their house. And that's a highly organized and, you know, developed world, you know. So, you know, if part of the government economic team is discussing and saying people would go back to work, you know, that I still feel that the government are not taking the people seriously.
Oh, and Sean, don't forget, by the way, what percentage of Nigerians go to work or have work?
That's why he's saying they will have to, you know, what it means is, you know, they'll have to hustle to eat, you know. But what he doesn't understand is that, you know, the movement itself is creating its own economy.
So if some return to work, those who don't have work can continue on
Exactly.
But I mean, from what he's saying, have we really snapped? I mean,
obviously they're not like seeing the real picture.
This is the longest strike in Nigeria's history. It has lasted a full week now, and obviously it's going to continue tomorrow. The longest we had prior to this was 3 days. By Wednesday, everybody's done. Now they've extended Thursday, Friday, and even at that, people are still, yesterday's meeting, people were still saying, if they don't agree to our demands, we continue. So something obviously has snapped. The mentality has changed. People are tired of being taken for a ride. And I think that's part of the problem. You can only push people so far. A lot of the anger is directed towards the fact that, or was brought about by the fact that the government essentially took us as children, like we can't think for ourselves. And it shows in the arrogance of government officials. You know, some of the statements they make. For example, what's your quote of the week this week? My personal quote of the week is from the Minister of Labour, Emeka Wogo. How can we pander to the wishes of the people that we rule? A serving minister said that in a democracy. It's like I actually dropped my computer when I heard it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. In a democracy, we put you there. It's supposed to be service. And that's what this is all about. This is not about 65 naira. Although the 65 naira thing is key, because it happened to be the thread that finally pulled people out of their complacency, as it were. But there are so many underlying issues that are involved in this, which have finally brought people out of their shells. And it's like a genie in a bottle. Once the genie is out of that bottle, putting it back in, it's a problem.
Okay. What would you say about the last week?
Well, the last week has been absolutely amazing to me because I've been waiting for young Nigerians to wake up. There are so many people who are doing amazing things when it comes to charity and things like that, and I've always advocated for get the government involved. Do your part, but get the government involved. And I think we've come to a point where we are ready to tell the government that, look, we are here, we're not going anywhere, and you need to listen to us, and you need to hear our voices. And I think, you know, in Ojota, the numbers every day, they kept growing and growing and growing, and you meet different types of people there. You know, you talk to some guy wearing a juju outfit, and he will tell you that, sister, I don't have any food. You talk to somebody who has obviously schooled in Britain because he has a British accent, and he too will tell you, you know what, I need to stand up for my people. So there's something very different about this. There's unity, there's solidarity, and I think that this is a moment that the youth need to grab by the horns and just say, you know what, we are not letting go. And we're going to fight for our rights. We're going to make sure that we're involved in policy making, that we're involved in decision making within the government, and that we're not being neglected anymore. And I think the people who are part of the youth, who are more educated than the grassroots, need to come and say, it is my generational duty to educate the masses, to make sure that they too have the information. I made a flyer, for example, breaking down some of the very crazy and amazing numbers within the budget and explaining how much that number actually means. What can it...
Do you have the facts? Do you know it? Can you tell us? Can you share something?
Okay, for example, the feeding a budget, which between the VP and the president is about almost 1 billion, that on 3,000 naira a month can feed 6,332 families for a year. 6,332 families for a year. Okay? And to me, that number is absolutely crazy. And there are people who don't even have 3,000 naira to feed their families in a month. You know, I mean, if you're on minimum wage, you're paying school fees, you're paying for your light, you're paying for your water, you're paying for your feeding, obviously, you're paying for transportation, you still have to wear some sort of clothes to go out. So where's that money coming from? You know, so, and we went out and we tried to talk to different kinds of people. And one guy said, Auntie, why is Labour not publicizing these figures? Why are they not telling us that we didn't know? That where did you find this thing? I said, I found it in the internet. I said, and he said, but Auntie, how will I even get there? You know, so that's why I'm saying it's our generational duty. We need to make sure that everybody has the information, because we cannot only say, oh, well, okay, fine, we have the information, yeah, we're going to fight this fight alone. No, we need to carry everybody along. Everybody needs to be engaged in the decision-making process. If not, you will have, our decisions will be made, but the masses will still not have their decisions made. And we need to make sure that everybody's decision is made.
Somebody asked me this morning and said, are you sure your voices have been heard?
Well, what I would say is,
For sure.
our voices have been heard. The question is, are they listening? And at the moment, the sad answer to that, from my perspective, is no.
Unfortunately.
They're not listening.
I mean,
I feel they are listening, but they're just refusing to ignore. They're just deciding to ignore it. They listen and then they say, well, we'll still do what we want to do.
actually, maybe the word isn't listen.
Because they're trying to get me on their side.
So they hear.
Yeah.
So
They're
they're
hearing.
They're hearing.
But they're not listening.
They're not feeling the impact as much as it hits them yet. They're hearing. They hear by the hearing of the hair, but they're not paying attention.
Exactly. They're
and
not paying
they
attention.
still somehow, I think government still believes that these people are being unrealistic. And it's a very, very funny thing. The statement you hear from government officials is, oh, we're doing this for you. Oh, you're the ones on the streets, you're the ones who will suffer. And that's true. They won't suffer. They won't. And that's why I say, yeah, of course, yet, until something hits the fan. And it's funny how this is all because this political class is in a, what do you call it? Is protected in a cocoon. But what would always happen when people stand up and begin to speak is that anyone who is outside may be affected, but the folks in the cocoon are crushed. And that's what I was saying earlier today, that maybe we'll talk about that later. I don't want to talk about the cost of government yet.
I need to know, first of all, you said they can hear us, but they're not listening. So, what else can we do?
What more?
What more can we do? So we say, okay, because if we intensify our voices, we go on the streets, we keep on doing what we're doing, what more can we do to make sure that they actually listen?
Someone said at the beginning of all this, and I'll say this very quickly, that the only language Abuja understands is violence. Now, that is unfair. That is unfair on us, because we're not people to take to violence. But guess what? I hope Abuja will not push people to that. Now, another option was the Pengasan kill switch. Now, I said something yesterday, a few hours before midnight, saying, oh my God, I'm really worried. And someone said, oh, why are you worried? You wanted Pengasan to switch off. And I said, it's very clear. Now, worry is different from fear, and warning is different from, trying to threaten people and all that. Now, I know that the impact of a Pengasan, switch off is going to affect everyone. It's going to affect government. And of course, it's already affecting global prices. But one of the key things, and I'm sure we'll also send a message to government, is let's even say that next week, sometime Tuesday, Wednesday, Labour says, you know what, we're tired. There will still be people on the streets. And maybe at that point, they will be, because right now the propaganda is still, they're sponsored by CPC, they're sponsored, this person is sponsored. So the veils haven't fallen off the eyes that, hey, these guys are not sponsored. These are the same guys who got on the streets asking for the rule of law when the sitting president was victimized and was not made acting president. Maybe when that veil falls off, maybe then government will begin to listen. These guys are not...
You people were not delusional when you were on the street rallying for his vote as well.
Yeah. But now you're suddenly delusional.
Everybody is suddenly delusional. When they were all screaming, it's Jonathan we want, it's Jonathan we want. He was talking about how great
But it's a
Nigerian
fight
people are.
between the people and the president.
Yes, of course.
No,
Maybe not just
I
the
would,
president.
no, I would say this time it's a fight between the people and the government, because for too long the government in this country has not been a government of the people.
Well,
It's been a government
I
of
think-
I tend to disagree.
Yeah,
I think if it was maybe Obasanjo in power, people would not be reacting like this. The fact is that people did not expect this from Jonathan.
Yeah, I
He has
think
to
because-
understand that because people feel personally betrayed. You know, as in this is a personal thing.
And the reason why they feel personally betrayed is because they did not vote for a party. They voted a person. And he's not fulfilling any of the things that he has promised. So they're holding him responsible. I mean, if you go to Ojota, you will see placards, Jonathan must die. Jonathan,
Nobody is saying PDP.
yes, nobody is calling the party. Nobody is saying the federal government,
It's
should
Jona-
go.
it's a personal
it says
thing.
Jonathan must
Yeah,
go.
but
Jonathan
also
must
it's-
die.
So
Because let me
What we have-
just quickly take everybody down memory lane. When we were fighting for independence in Nigeria, I was 10. I went to rallies with my uncle. Fella didn't like to support the rally because he said, how can people be fighting for Abiola's mandate? This man is a thief. You know? So Uncle Beko always say, it's not Abiola's mandate, it's democracy. So I'll go and join him. Soldiers will come. It's not this kind of our own protest that time. Once you see soldiers coming from 200 meters away, you will start running now because they are shooting, chasing everybody. We are hiding. Nadeco, we see all the people that fought for the democracy. None of them are in federal government today. The Babangida that fought the people that fought for democracy is in the People's Democratic Party. The same party as Jonathan. The people that fought against democracy are the ones ruling Nigeria in the People's Democratic Party. So people could not have trusted that party a second time after the failings of their first 8 years. That's why I say it's personal to Jonathan. Because Jonathan was what came out of this party like, how do they say it, diamond in the dirt. And people say, oh, this man might, God put him there.
So you're saying it's not just because he's the leader, it's much more personal.
It's personal.
Yes,
People
I
feel
don't agree with that.
Now I agree because I'm thinking of all the images and I took pictures. I was
Yes,
documenting
you
and
said
tweeting.
so.
And on the first day, what I saw was 65 naira or nothing. By the third day, I was beginning to see a list. Jonathan was always number one.
Yes.
There was Ngozi, Okonjo-Iweala.
They must put Jonathan.
But every list had Jonathan. And I took all these pictures and they're all on my website. I mean, these are for records. By the fifth day, by Friday, I was worried. I didn't post some of the pictures online because I was worried what they were saying. One of them that stuck with me that I couldn't post but eventually did post on Facebook was one that said, we invite you to the burial service, final funeral services of Subsidine and Subsidat. Now, that would have been funny, but for the pictures that were used. It was the picture of President Jonathan and his wife. Now, I thought, let me avoid this one. I took the picture, moved on, and I saw people carrying coffins.
Yeah, I saw that too. Lots of coffee.
And so it's becoming very personal. And now it's, by the fourth day, people were saying resign.
I feel personally
resign.
insulted.
And it's
where
getting
the
very,
risk-
very
yes,
personal.
and that is where the risk of losing focus is. Where personal, yes, granted, a lot of Nigerians feel betrayed by the person of the
Yeah,
president.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, this struggle is not about an individual. It's about a system. Because this president came through that system to where he's sitting. And that is what the system is unaccountable to the people. And that is the key thing that we
So
must.
what you're saying is we lose focus if we take the fight to just Jonathan.
No, I think Jonathan
I think there are two different
everything
points
has
here.
a symbol.
I think there are two different points here. I think there is the fact that the reality, and then there's the fact. Allow me to use
Yes.
those two. The fact is this fight is not about Jonathan. This fight is against a system that doesn't work. And that is right. But guess what? Reality on the ground is that the longer this goes, the more, face it.
The more vilified
people-
Jonathan becomes.
The same
Yeah.
Desmond Elliott, who said, they've divided us with religion. Everybody saw the video. They've divided us with religion, but we've had enough. We want him back. Now, Desmond Elliott came on Twitter, and Desmond Elliott did not say, oh, this and that. He was clear in his point. Disappointment was recorded and all that. So there's the fact. Yes, the campaign, the struggle and everything is against a system. It's against the high, it's not even high, insane cost of government, terrible quality of governance and other things. But some people feel, I didn't vote for Goodluck Jonathan. Because I don't
I
believe
didn't
in
vote for
saying
anybody at
you're
all.
voting for a person and not a party.
I can't vote
I'm
for
not
the system.
stupid.
I didn't believe in the system.
12 years, a political party has not delivered something, and you say, you know what? I mean, I don't know. I mean, people had their reasons.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Okay, because Nkem has a document which she shared with me last night, and I thought she should share a bit of it on television. So she's only joining us for the first segment. I want us to just Nkem to share a bit about the document you've been working on the Nigerian dream.
Okay, so basically it's a document that has been put together out of demands made by Nigerians. A group of people are behind this, but we don't want to be an institution or a group. We just want to represent the voice of the youth as good as we possibly can. So what we did is we set up an email address, which is nigeriansdemand@gmail.com, and people have been sending emails since 2 days ago. So within 2 days, we've been able to compile this document. This document addresses issues that focus on demands of Nigerians. So the issues obviously, start with the subsidy issue and the action points that the citizens demand to be taken immediately by the government. Then it continues to go towards what should be done regarding the protests, what should be done regarding better governance, regarding cutting government waste, regarding building infrastructure and education. I mean, there's so many different points, and it's been categorized. And what we want is for this to become some sort of manifesto that represents any demographic within Nigeria. We want to make sure that everybody is represented and that everybody's voice is captured.
So should people begin to send you, or that has closed, or should people send you suggestions now? Should people send you demands now?
Yes, people should keep sending emails. This document at the moment already has 600 emails, that have been compiled and summarized, because we also want the document to be concise and to the point. There are a lot of things that we have received so many times by people. But obviously, I still want people to send more information, because I think the only real representation that you can get is we can say, okay, you know what, this is 4 million emails that we've received and the people have spoken. This is, a lot of people, a lot of young people have come together, have said this is what we want. This document, we want to also publicize it. We want to put it on the internet, make it accessible for people, let people have their own input, let people say, okay, this is what we want, and also try and push it through the government so that they can see, okay, you know what, this is not just fiction. It's not just some people carrying posters that they might or might not have written by themselves, or that they have been paid to carry. No, this is what the people want.
So you're going to, you plan to send this to the government at some point?
Yes, at some point.
Okay, is there a timeline?
At the moment, there's no timeline. As I said, we just started this 2 days ago, so we're still working on real strategy. We're still working on...
This is just one of the projects that the protests would have formed. There's so many of this that in other states of Nigeria.
And the thing, what I really would want is for there to be, some sort of synergy and collaboration between these different groups and movements and, people who say, okay, I personally, I'm, ready to push this, or, our group is ready to push this. We need as much collaboration as we can get in order to represent the Nigerians' actual demands.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, we need to take a break. But after the break, we'll be discussing the role of the middle class. Have you been silent for too long? And of course, solutions. Solutions, people.
I have a few.
Okay, and Mr. Sleeves Up, Kola is in the studio, so he'll be joining us when we come back from the break. So
Stick around.
stick around.
Now, I'm sparkling wine clothes like never before. For sparkling whiteness and hygienic cleaning, go for Hypo Bleach. Now available in sachets.
Hypo go Hypo. Reporting politics is not as straightforward as you might imagine. Most times, what is may not just be as it appears. More like the case of the more you look, the less you see. The more you try to understand the situation, the more confusing it gets. What we do in politics today, dissect the scenario, no matter how difficult, because ultimately, our job is to help you make sense of it all.
Business Morning, an incisive program in that cuts across every sector of the economy, from the capital markets to maritime, telecoms and information technology. We engage top analysts to get you the bottom line of burning issues. It's all about asking the right questions.
In what ways can investors play the forex market to get maximum returns on their investment?
The issue is not the market, it's not the FX market. The major issue is that you don't have a good trading plan.
The capital market is largely active owing to private investment. Now, where do the state and federal governments belong?
It has been demonstrated over the time that state governments, federal governments can actually make investments.
Business Morning, Monday to Friday, live only on Channels Television.
Welcome back. We are live on Robin Minds. Thank you for joining us again. We did a quick guest swap.
Yeah.
And
Mrs. Sleeves Up is here, live in the studio.
My sleeves are not up.
They're partly up.
They're always up. Don't be deceived by that.
Up all week, each and every day of last week.
Okay, so today's the only day.
Cover them up. Yeah, he should cover them up.
Let them come down for a while.
Collar has sores on his mouth. He shouldn't be talking now because he's been screaming each and every day of last week. Collar, you know, he led the protest in Falamo from Tuesday to Friday. When he walked in here, somebody said, "You'll be arrested this week." He said, "Well, I'm up for arrest." So he's not afraid to be on television.
Nope.
Collar, why did you do that? Let me ask you.
Why do they want to arrest you?
Okay, shall I do the arrest first?
No. Forget about the arrest.
I might as well make myself available on my channel.
Why did you hit the road each and every day from Tuesday last week, leading a procession of people fighting, call it injustice,
protesting.
call it government waste, protesting against this things. Why?
Yeah, because something snapped. Something snapped. We've you know, sometimes in life when your back is pushed against the wall, you have two options. One is either stay there and remain there, and the other thing is to either fight back. And I think that for me, I got to a point where I felt that they've accused us of a lot of things in Nigeria, of being cowards, of being a set of people who just adjust. So for us, I felt that, you know what, this is too much of an injustice to adjust to. We've adjusted just a few weeks before then. We had to adjust to something on the island. So for me, I felt, you know what, I can't adjust to this one. And if I'm not going to adjust to this, I know maybe I can find a few people who also can't adjust. And those people came out, as you saw from Falamo on Monday up until Friday. So yeah, something snapped. I'm not ready to adjust to 140 naira or whatever it is, and everything else that we've been adjusting to. That's why. I won't even mind 141. You know, I don't mind personally. I don't mind 141. But the fact that I know that the 141 is not going to be used for anything
else out of it.
Yeah. Other than to enrich some people, I cannot pay for your splendor. If you want to live a splendid life, work hard.
Yeah. Okay. Now, something happened last week on the VGC roads, on 3rd Mainland Bridge as well. Someone confirmed to me that she saw at least 30 checkpoints on VGC road, and they told her there were 13 more in front of area boys, and she had to turn back at the 30th point. A friend of ours was robbed on 3rd Mainland Bridge, and the boys came at her. I mean, almost lynched her, you know. And so these people are getting violent, and they're saying, "Oh, if you have a car, then you're part of the cabal. If you have fuel in your car, you're part of the cabal." And so while having a conversation, someone then mentioned that have the middle class been quiet for too long? So long that even now that they're making noise, the guys on the streets who are homeless, who are hungry, do not believe that they are fighting their fight.
Okay.
What do you have to say?
There's still a,
Let me, what we've had on the island is what you would say maybe 70 to 80% of the people that came out up until Friday, over 12,000 people people you would call the so-called middle or upper class, who Ikoyi, Victoria Island, Lekki, quiet for so long, and all of a sudden, again, something snapped and they came out. Hopefully not too late. But this is beyond people being quiet. This is about, we're sitting on gunpowder in Nigeria. I was just reading, they just forwarded a BB to me at the moment of what happened on VGC and Jakonde Road up onto Lekki. Apparently, what guys are saying is, look, you can be fighting for your own fuel or whatever it is, or good governance. We are hungry. We are hungry, and we've been hungry for the last 4 days. We have two types of economy in Nigeria, formal and informal economy. While you can survive so far on your savings or whatever it is you have in your bank account because you operate in the formal economy, you get paid per month or you run your own business. There are guys who survive on profit of 500 naira or 1,000 naira per day. Your Okada rider, your recharge card seller, your pure water seller. Now, these guys have been shut down for a week. Those are the people you're seeing already, trying to make money off other. And if we're not careful, this thing will become the poor, the fight from the poor and against the rich. And I saw a placard that said that if we're not careful in Nigeria, the poor will end up eating the rich.
When the poor have nothing left to eat,
they will eat the rich. You get what I'm saying? So this is why everybody needs to rise up now, and the time to do it is now, because if we don't do it, that's where we're heading.
See, for me, there's no revolution or change in any society without the involvement of the elite and the middle class. It is a very relevant aspect of any social development in history, and I feel one of the big problems we've had in Africa is that not only Nigeria, in the entire continent of Africa, is that the middle class, the educated elites have always allied themselves with the government, with the power. They've never allied themselves with the people, they've never been close to the people. In fact, I have friends on the island that would say, man, I don't do bridges, meaning that, I'll not even come to the mainland, they never.
And that's changing up, because they came to Ojota.
Yeah, now
people are crossing over to Ojota, and that's what I'm saying. In 2012,
yes, because
you have something that we're now all generally fighting for. We're united by this so-called subsidy. The government, they've opened a can of worms. This fight, they can't win it.
And now it's actually cheaper to see your friends in Magodo than to actually go to Ajah because of the toll gate.
But are we really united?
I think we're getting increasingly united. And I'll tell you from
something has happened that has
let's change. We're not united. We're just united in the cause.
That's what I would call
usually.
But is that enough?
Usually that's
it's enough.
But
historically,
is that sustainable?
Yes.
It depends on what we do with what we have now. It can be sustainable. But because if you have 1.5 million people at Ojota on Friday and not even a single fight broke out, that tells you something. Football used to unite us in Nigeria. They've taken that away from us. In fact, apparently we had a game during the week. I didn't even know.
You have to go and bribe some people to stay in the stadium, 200 people.
Now, speaking of Ojota, I was going to give an example. When I got there on Monday, first thing I saw.
Monday, you should talk about the week before there when we first started, which was Wednesday.
No, the week before, the JAF one. Because we all walked together from Yaba. Everybody, by the time we got to Ojota, were united. But on Monday, when I got there and a couple of other guys, we saw some guys smoking in the corner, and I had the first thing the ladies said beside me was like, "Are we sure we're safe?" Now, it moved from that on day one to day two, where people were now in groups, and the people will come and ask you and say, Egbo, is it true? 1 billion naira, Jonathan's then you explain to them that, it's not 1 billion for Jonathan alone, it's president and VP. Say, no, you mean 1 billion? How much is that for one day? And so we're united
in the cause.
In this cause, and the cause has moved way beyond the 65 naira.
Yeah.
People are still that for me is a minimum condition. Because, let's face it, government says we want to deregulate. If you're deregulating, you're not going to be discussing prices. 19 naira, 130, 140, 120.
Look, can I just chip in here?
Please.
This deregulation thing, they say it's ending corruption. Now, this is where I want to actually start. I say, deregulation is not ending corruption in Nigeria if we continue in the system that we have today. Deregulation is only going to make corruption stronger. because this so-called cabal now, they can have a meeting, like the 6 of us here, sit down and say, how much should we charge these people this week?
No more like, how much do I need to buy?
Which is
exactly what they will do.
Which is exactly what has happened in a way. Because you say you deregulate, but essentially what has happened is that you fix the price at a certain level. If you've actually deregulated, then there's no way that the price can be 141 in Lagos and be 141 in Sokoto. It's simply impossible.
No, but they don't.
We need to talk about solutions. We're running out of time. We're running out of time.
Let's talk about Abuja quickly. Why is no one budging for the other? You know, I mean, I'm talking to people as a TV producer.
I have another answer
constantly
for
talking
that.
to people.
You have an answer.
You know, and of course, I also say, before I came here, a friend's brother-in-law was saying to me that, NLC is not negotiating. NLC is going with one figure and they're staying there.
Yeah.
No, they should negotiate. That's how to go to a negotiating table. You cannot go with a figure and stay there. So why is one person not budging for the other?
There has been a stated position from the onset that before any negotiation can begin, you return to 65
status quo ante.
So why? So the fact that NLC has actually gone to negotiate and the price hasn't gone, they have actually given way.
They've moved.
So anybody who says that they have not given way is
the
telling
stand
a
before
lie.
was we will not talk until you go back to 65 naira.
And now we are
but
talking.
Now they're talking.
And you know what, Cheta, that's very important because what else do they expect from NLC to say? What I've been hearing is about 90, 120 naira and all of that. The question is, how are you arriving at these arbitrary figures of 90 and 120
know
naira?
how much you are subsidizing per litre.
Exactly. So
how much are they
what
subsidizing
we're
per
saying
litre?
is that return to status quo, 65 naira, which, by the way, at 65 naira, we weren't getting certain things, good governance, accountability, transparency, responsibility, rule of law. We weren't getting all of that, which is why it's beyond just 65 naira. And then, but let's start from that 65 naira and do an audit, because that's very important. We need to know exactly what if there is subsidy in the first place.
Well,
let's do an
did an audit of NNPC that had been kept secret.
If nothing else,
they are not accepting.
No,
they have accepted it. It's there, but they're not bringing it out.
You know what? If nothing else, this past week has made it clear that our government is a fraud. That the subsidy is a lie, and that, I mean, how do you pay the same amount of money?
These are your opinions.
These are not just my opinions. These are things from facts, from the numbers.
What are the budget? 300 billion.
What are these numbers?
300 billion was what was the budget for subsidy for 2011.
Okay.
And in 8 months, it had gone to 1.3 billion, a trillion. Yeah. That's a trillion extra. Now, if you budget 300 billion, this is because that is the pack, you know, that is the yard stake of it normally. So if there's a sudden 400% increase, and our earning capacity in Nigeria has not increased by 400%, so demand has definitely not gone up by 400%. All these economic experts, can they see that is
Let's
fraud?
even give them back their numbers. Now, you say that we consume 35 million liters or 40 million liters, right? Okay. And the subsidy on each liter is how much? 73 naira. Now, multiply 73 naira by 35 million and by 365. You get a maximum, something way less than 900 billion. 952 billion. Now, that means that, let's even give it to you, that it's 1 trillion. Where did the 300 billion, where did it go to? That is using your own numbers, which we know is a lie.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, the stalemate in Abuja they are talking about, the government has lost all respect for Nigerian people. We've been their doormat for too long. Anytime they do something, nothing changes. Their system is getting stronger. So it has come against another opposition. And they believe that it's the same as our father's time, that they will just bulldoze and shagidi
and bribe
their way through.
And you can see, I think,
because when FIFA stared Jonathan down, he cowered in 2 days. He cowered to FIFA in 2 days, and the Nigerian people have been speaking now for 14 days. Not 14 days. So that's how you know that we have no respect. So we cannot show the government respect. That's why they are coming on air and saying, well, you should respect.
After death.
I cannot respect you.
Okay. Now, you talked about FIFA and you talked about Nigerian people, you know, screaming out loud for 13 days. What role does empathy play in all of this? Is it that we run a government who doesn't care about his people.
When you eat 1 billion, when you eat 1 billion,
maybe they don't know what's going on.
Because I mean, for me,
sorry,
hold on. Because for me, I mean, every time I talk about this issue, I end up with empathy, you know. And sometimes I feel as if I'm talking alone. I feel as if the people, they want me to talk about facts and figures. But I'm saying maybe if you had basic empathy and some bit of value in our system, maybe we won't be having this.
Yeah, Debola, let's look at the concept. Let's look at the concept of democracy. Policies in democracy, the fundamental principle of implementing new policies in any democracy is that it has to be popularly accepted by the masses. You're implementing something, a majority of people, regardless of what NTA is reporting, majority of the people are saying that we don't want it either now or we don't want it ever. And you don't think that you should. Last night I actually wept when I heard that it was another deadlock. I was going to bed and I actually cried. That what kind of regime do we have? Are we actually in a democracy or in a I feel like I'm in a military regime, because if you have a government that does not listen to the people, because what you're saying is that
and the decision itself was highly autocratic.
So the simple answer is no empathy, no at all.
Let's talk the short.
And you mean no truth authority? You said NT. I was wondering.
Let's touch.
Well, that's a new one.
So please, I have no hand in that. I'm on another TV station.
No, I will say
I don't want
that TV station.
NTA is a biased TV station.
Yes, that's why we'll continue to occupy the.
This is not about NTA. This is not about NTA.
What they brought me out of bed from.
This is not about NTA. Let's talk about the short document.
Okay.
Now the short document says 11 billion is allocated to the Abuja Lokoja Road in 2012 budget, with an additional 14 billion from the Shore P. And they even call it Shore P, right? Hold on, please. So that means 24 billion for the Abuja Lokoja Road. 6 billion is allocated to the Benin or Shagamu Road, with an additional 16.5 billion to be financed from Shore P.
Is that the same road?
Can I interject?
6 billion plus 16 billion.
This is why you brought me here.
I'm coming, Chita, hold on. So 6 billion plus 16.5 is 22.5 billion for Benin Ora Road, and then we have 25 billion for Abuja Lokoja Road.
The Benin Ora Road is the same road that the current Minister of Petroleum, when she was Minister of Works, cried over in 2007. Every year, a contract is awarded to fix that road.
And I can name names.
And I slept on that road when I was traveling home for Christmas. As in, left Lagos early in the morning and got home in the night.
Is the 300 billion of that road that remove an NA from PDP?
So why are you telling me you've not brought anybody to justice on top of this, and you're telling me you have these documents, and then again we are talking of government with cost of running government. You're having essentially this short document is a parallel government. That is the essential thing.
So why have ministries when you have Shore
ministries
P?
when you have Shore? What's the point?
Shore P.
It's no longer Shore. You weren't sure about the Shore, so there's
Shore P.
You know, I said this way beyond. Way beyond Shore became
another structural adjustment program.
A lot of the projects in this Shore, for example,
new structural adjustment program.
One of the projects listed there is the Mambila Power Project. This is a project that was awarded under Obasanjo, paid for, not completed, revoked under Yar'Adua. The money not returned. And then you have
don't say it wasn't completed. Obasanjo opened that project on TV, my presence like this. General Olusegun Obasanjo retired, Commander-in-Chief, hereby commenced NIPP project, they opened 10,000 megawatts. Bah! It was when he left office, they say gas pipe itself no reach there. That's monumental fraud.
Kola had some names to names. I love facts and figures. You know, what names?
We have to balance it out. You know.
All right, okay. You know, the thing is that in the last 1 week we've been occupying places. You know, so not just a particular place. This Benin Ora Expressway, the last one at least, the last contract that was given to a certain man and got the funding for it, and up until now was not done. It was actually brought up. Look, if they go, let me know start dropping in. You know how we do our names and how we publish their numbers. We'll do the same thing, because the thing is that if the government does not have the gut or the capacity to deal with the cabals, Nigerian youth were saying that we will name and shame them. We will occupy their lives, and so names will come up on social media, and we will take steps to actually go and physically tell them that we can. So,
what is occupy their lives?
Occupy their lives. Okay, it starts from what we have their numbers. We will let them know that we know what they've been up to in the state of where we are at the moment. They got us here. We know where they live.
We know where
the offices are. So if it means that this one is going to, they say we are causing public nuisance by being on the street. Okay, fine. We then moved the protest from on the
Sorry,
street.
and it-
To go and occupy somebody's office or house and not sit down there, not disturb them.
Is that not personal space? Is that not going beyond your bounds?
Okay, let me quickly explain what going beyond
The fact
bounds.
that,
Because
that I don't have lights is not going beyond their bounds.
as it is now, the fact that for the last 1 week we've been out of work. Look, our occupation has been Ojota and Falomo. That's our occupation. So what I'm saying is that let's take that somewhere else and stay on government office.
Quickly.
I have the right to go inside government office and sit
Quickly,
in
sorry
my
guys.
neighbors.
One, let's because we're going to have to solutions. If the government say they are not backing, they're not going to revert back to 65. What is the way forward?
There's no way forward.
There's no way forward yet.
There's no way forward. It's from 65. We have to look for a way
This
forward.
country continues to run, in quotes, this way. We continue to lose billions of naira a day.
We've lost 2 trillion now, and the money
We've lost all the money that should have been saved for. All the sure money has been lost.
This is to show this is gross
How
irresponsibility.
irresponsible the government it is.
Gross irresponsibility on the part of the government that we are losing 320 billion naira each day.
Yeah.
In 1 week, we've lost more than
the amount of
that
money
would have
you
been
wanted to
saved.
save.
Okay, you think that this money the government doesn't have it?
Does this now mean?
Do you actually believe that Nigerian government does not have this subsidy money?
So somebody just dropped. Does
Let's
it mean
even assume
that if we have lost 2 trillion a day and we're supposed to be saving 1.3 trillion and the government knew ahead that by 5 days the calculation will be 1.5 trillion, so they have lost 1.3 trillion and did not back down, is this now an ego issue?
Now let me take you to what I was saying.
Is it?
It is who they care about. As I was saying, Nigerian government has $8 billion to pay for $8 billion to pay for subsidy for as long as they want. And when they are talking their propaganda, they make it seem as if borrowing is wrong. America is owing China $500 billion as we speak. America's debt is rising to the trillions.
No, Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi said this. He said that it is not that Nigeria is broke. He said this on Tuesday on channels. It is not that Nigeria is broke. It is not that we don't have money to pay for this subsidy, if there is that amount. But how long we're able to do that is a question. What I'm saying is that why are they rushing us now? Let's buy time. Let's
the bank was built with $14.6 billion.
Okay, guys. We can't finish.
As you all know, the 1 hour is never enough.
Yes.
And so we've asked you, what is the way forward? And all of you have said, there is no way forward until we go back to 65.
Actually, there is a way forward.
begin.
The way forward is that the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Federal Nigeria does what he was elected to do and brings this country's economy back on its feet by going back to 65 naira and listening to the other demands. One of which is, why are political officers not earning based on the minimum wage scale?
Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
Otherwise, we're back on the street.
It's been 1 hour of fantastic discussion, intellect here and there. Ademola Ogumba was supposed to join us in the studio, but he was caught on the Shagam Road, one of these roads, and so he's got here pretty late and can't be on the show. Very intelligent guy. Would have loved all of you to hear what he has to say, but we're hoping that we'll be able to bring him next week. We don't know if we'll be occupying next week. We don't know what our fate is.
But if we are occupying, we'll be.
We are occupying
next week?
No, sorry, next week Sunday.
Sunday.
We're back to
9 a.m.
Our office is at
Ojota. 9 a.m. Ojota. 9 o'clock, Ojota, Falomo, which is now the Freedom Park. 8 o'clock, Falomo, roundabout, which is now the Freedom roundabout.
We're occupying somewhere else from Falomo.
Okay.
We'll let you know.
Oh, okay, right.
Send us all the information if you want the documents, any of the documents that we can
someone
talk
actually
about.
asked on Twitter at Belgium 1734.
Send us your email.
Hold on. Belgium 1734 on Twitter. You said, how do you access Nkem's document? If you send an email to info@nigeria.com or nigeriansdemand@gmail.com, you'll be able to access the document. So we'll see you next week, right, Shade? Goodbye and God bless.
Keep occupying.
That's the latest one I heard. Thank you and goodbye.
Just won't work you out. I am ready for your action. Just won't work you out. You should cut off all distraction. It's all on you now. And just give me
especially in Tahrir Square, waved flags.
Some views may be right.
There are many Osama bin Ladens in the world. There are many of them in the United States.
Others disagree. Don't stand on the sidelines. Be part of the decision making. GT Magic Channel, only on Channels Television.
According to Wikipedia, tourism is travel for recreational, leisure, or business purposes. On Travel Guide, tourism expands to include a guide to exotic destinations, spots for relaxation, and fun. That's not all. We also include traveling tips before you set out to that destination. Travel Guide embellishes this with exposition on the people and unique features of interest. Most of all, we take you there before you get there. That's what we do every Sunday at 9 p.m. The good thing is that there's no limit to the places we take you to. So, you've got nothing to lose touring the world with Travel Guide on Channel Television.
Our definition of news revolves around you.
It's all about events and issues that affect you.
There's simply no limit to issues and events.
Issues that will help you make important decisions and take actions.
And actions that could transform your life and the things around you. Looking at all sides, we keep the story simple so you can understand it and make informed decisions.
It's really all about you.
That's what we do.
On Channels Television,
Your home for the news.